If you are already working with change sets, this video is exactly for you. I will share here some tricks that I've learned during work with them. If you're just starting, please go to previous video and just start with another one. So let's go. One of the interesting things that would prevent you from receiving an error on destination environment would be to add master details fields always when you're delivering some custom objects, if this object has these fields. For example, I've prepared for you a change set where I was adding custom object created and its field, and this object has a master details field for account. And when I've tried to deliver this change set without this master detail field, I faced such an error here on validation that deployment components was not successful because without master detail relationship. This is important for set and sharing model to control by parent on custom object. So yeah, quite an often thing. Another thing which not everybody knows is that you can deliver custom metadata. For example, if here, let's go just in parallel to data. If you have some custom metadata object, it can be delivered, you know that, it's alright. When we are going here and choosing here custom metadata, you will see your object here. Custom metadata A, custom metadata A. Alright, you can edit that. But the next thing that not everybody knows, that you can also deliver the custom metadata records, because they are considered to be like configurations of org relevant for many environments, not only for your one. Here can be, for example, list mapping for some custom integration, or just some functionality behavior, disabling, enabling, whatever. So, and these custom metadata records can be found here. When we search here the name of your custom metadata object, custom metadata A, this was my name, and right here I see these both records which I have and can also add them. The next tricky point is about some authorization storing. When we are writing integrations with some external environments, the best way to store the credentials is not in Apex or somewhere, is not in custom settings, not in custom metadata, but in named credentials. You know that. So for example, here I've prepared storing for credentials for this exactly environment in case I would need to do a request from Apex. So yeah, here you can find some username and password. And if you're attaching this named credential to your change set, then password won't be transferred. This is very important. This knowledge would save me some time on finding the bug, because yeah, this is very secure. It doesn't transfer the password. So for transferring the password, you will need to go to this destination environment and enter it manually. Next important thing is no magic. This point is called no magic because there is no magic. If you don't know what you are transferring, you can have a look. Here, for example, when you are uploading the change set, your change set that is already uploaded becomes not editable, so you don't find here anymore this button to edit the components. Instead, you will see here view source buttons, links, and if you go on any of them, you will see an exact file that was transferred. For example, when we are talking about custom field on account, so it would be transferred together with your object. So you see there will be prepared just one file with your object, with some, with his, record types, because they all were added there, and plenty of other things. So everything what was added is prepared as files. You can see everything and consider it for delivering not everything, for example. Another tricky thing that you will find here, when you're delivering profiles or change sets, it will deliver not the whole profile or change sets with all access, but only with access to the components that you have included. For example, here, let's view source of custom profile. I can see some class accesses only to what I've included, some field accesses, custom metadata, so all access that I included, but not to everything in the org. And additionally, the next tricky thing is that when you are transferring profiles and permission sets, it transfers user permissions. What are they? You know, some system configurations like customer application permission, or just some allowed features and so on, API restrictions for profile. So quite a list of things. Everything is added always. That's why you should be really careful on delivering your profiles and permission sets, but more profiles, from lower org to higher org, because you might overwrite some further some security stuff, some API restrictions, and so on. The next thing is that page layouts would be transferred fully. If you have an existing page layout and you just added one field and you include it into the change set, only your field and your page layout, nothing more, then everything what is on page layout will be transferred. Because this is how they are stored. If you go to view source again, you see buttons, layout sections, all the fields, custom labels, custom columns, related lists, everything. Because this is just one file and no differences, so you should also know about that to have it definitely relevant. Then another thing about limitations, you cannot add standard fields and standard objects, but there are situations when you need to do that. For example, on lead status pick list, when you are adding some pick lists, or some further pick lists like that. So this is a very common situation. You are adjusting the list and you need somehow to transfer that. Don't do that directly on production environment. Instead, you can extract it here and then do it via package or API deployment. I will show you in another video how, but yeah, generally it can be deployed, just not with change sets, because they just don't have these standard fields to be added via components. As you saw, there were only custom fields, custom objects, not standard. Another thing, if you have some installed packages, you also can't include their components, like fields, like classes. But with classes and the functionality, this is alright. But with fields, when we are talking again about some fields with pick list values which we do adjust, you cannot include that. This also can be done with package deployment. And the last thing to remember, change sets are overriding all your components on the destination environment. They don't check any conflicts. They don't know if what you deliver is right or wrong. If you're overriding someone else's development, it will just deliver and replace the content with your new content. That's why the change sets is not a preferable way of delivering, not an ideal. Only if you are like one team or one person working in the project, this could be alright, just enough. But if you have at least 2 teams, then you will face definitely conflicts, and there we will go with another way of deployment, for example with package API deployment or SVDX deployment. and continuous integration, but this is already another story and which I will tell you in another video. So if there was anything interesting and useful for you, please put thumbs up, and if you find any further tricky things about deployment, please share. I would be really interested to know them, and good luck with deployments.